are being led to believe. And our prayer in our hearts, in our homes, and in our public square has always been part of the fabric of this great nation. From President George Washington to President George Bush, there is evidence of respect and honor from the hearts of our leaders in their actions, in their words, and in the legacy they left behind for us to follow and obey. In the words so carefully laid out by our founding fathers in our Constitution, there is no question who these remarkable men dedicated their lives to. Men who escaped to the New World with their families or on their own in search of a promised land where men could govern and live free, believing this to be their God-given right. This faith in God and His almighty seat over all must have resonated across the land, as in each and every preamble of each and every own state constitution gives tribute and honor to God in their first few sentences. At monuments across the country that give homage to our leaders and the brave men and women who have served to protect our way of life, God is who the praise is given to, our leader, deserving of our obedience. What a gift to be born an American, a land whose leaders have been the beacon in the world, representing freedom, liberty, and compassion. Through the last 200 years, our leaders have been tested on all fronts as the world has railroaded itself through its own age of history. Though many of our leaders were tested and given no choice than to make decisions that would change the path that our world may take, I believe all took sincere counsel with God. At times I believe God simply led them. Were all their choices right? Have all of our leaders been infallible? No, and how could they be? For only Jesus Christ was flawless. Only the Son of God without making one error. What our leaders did possess was vision and foresight, and with their firm faith they led America into the position of a world leader based on the laws and rules laid out by God, our Almighty Father, respecting the teachings that without God there was nothing worth merit. That was then, and this is now. Today, all that America stands for, all that America is, all that was sacrificed by so many patriots and heroes before us is at stake. Daily we watch in horror and in disbelief as step by step the dismantling of our own country is taking place. The writing is on the wall, and in my opinion it is testimony to complete ignorance if you do not see what exactly is occurring. To those who doubt such a statement, one just has to look at the history books to compare the systems and patterns of fallen countries and governments. While we have spent the post-9/11 years worrying and guarding against the terrorist attack from Al-Qaeda, the real enemy lives among us, and it is cunning and very shrewd in its tactics. And while we calm ourselves by saying there have been no attacks since the terrible day of September 8 years ago, I have to disagree. We are being attacked daily, and these assaults on our liberties and freedoms are gaining strength, and as with each victory, the landscape of America changes, yet a little more each and every day. If you look at the 12 values laid out in the 912 Project, there may be 12 attributes that we attest to possessing, but look at our society and our government and tell me where you see honesty, reverence, personal responsibility, or gratitude. The complacent, selfish American is way too busy to consider such peril and is no opponent at all against the enemy who is currently hard at work destroying each and every one of us. America, the golden gem of the world. How evil must hate America and all that it stands for. If only one could figure out how to take over our monetary system, control big markets such as the auto industry and the health care, take and spend all of the money of the citizens to assure total dependence, appoint czars to embolden the executive branch and diminish the power of the legislative branch, demoralize security bureaus such as the CIA and trash credibility of past administrations. If one could unarm the people, rendering them helpless, while arming a militia of misguided sheep, and then take control of the airwaves and stop all communication over the internet, all one would have to do is discredit the American spirit worldwide by apologizing for its arrogance, and the stage would be set for a complete takeover of the greatest nation ever. Sound familiar? One may ask, how did we get here? Look what's happening. Well, this did not happen overnight. In my opinion, it started when, as a people, we disgraced our own heroes, our own veterans of the Vietnam War, sending off our own flesh and blood to fight, putting their lives on the line, without even having the confidence that their country at home was supporting their efforts, their values, their sacrifices. How did we allow that to happen? And did we really think God was going to bless America when in the 1970s we became a genocide nation, murdering over 40 million future Americans? Did you ever think that God's heroes and leaders of this world may have been fully planned, only to be snuffed out by a selfish generation with no regard to the sanctity of life? We allow the abolishment of the union of a marriage between one man and a woman, and sin is embedded in our churches, in our schools, on our streets, and in our homes. Worse yet is the fact that a large amount of Americans actually believe these values and principles to be acceptable. It is astounding. And I am ashamed to have been a contributing part of this generation's demise of the proud American spirit. We always say what a great country America is, and I wonder if we should be saying what a great country America was. What will it take for Americans to wake up? How many of you told people you were coming here today? And did anybody come? I mean, we all came, and this is wonderful. I'm proud of everybody who came here. Okay, but how many people looked at you like, oh, yeah, I got something else to do? And especially our young generation. What's it going to take for them to realize that the gift they have been given by being born in this country is a gift that comes with obligation and a return of thanks? Thanks in the actions of doing something with that gift, using the gift of being born an American to better the world, better this country. I feel this is something only a small percentage of our citizens realize. What has become absolutely clear and defined to me is this. If we are to save any form of the America we were left to steward, we must stand up for God and stand up now. God is and always has been the only reason for this life. He has never left our side, and he has been saddened by the behavior of this generation, but he patiently waits for us to wake up and come back to him. We must convince the moral majority of Americans to pray. Pray that God will allow us one more chance to amend our ways, for we have fallen so far from our founding fathers' dreams. I believe the fight has begun, and while the enemy may be cunning, shrewd, and sly, I believe he has miscalculated one enormous weapon contained in American hearts, and that is the love of God, our Father. I believe one must never underestimate the power of the American spirit. The giant is awakening, and just as you have come here today realizing just what is at stake, millions of Americans are mobilizing and accepting the fact that the time has come to stand up for God and our country. Make no mistake, there is only one way to save America, and that is by putting God back in his rightful place as center and leader of our land. That is our only hope.